Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Jay, and this is the 2016 Mitsubishi Outlander, and it is a hidden gem for bargain shoppers in the market for a three-row crossover. And I'm going to tell you why in today's unboxing review. So I came down to Lutz Mitsubishi in Sacramento, California to get a better look. Recently, a good friend of mine was asking me about crossovers. Specifically, he was in the market for a three-row crossover, and he didn't want to spend really anything more than $30,000. And that immediately led me to recommend to him this vehicle, the third generation Outlander. Now, you've probably seen these around, or you just heard of them in passing, but it's been around since 2001. Like I said, it's the third generation, and it was given a pretty nice refresh for the 2016 model year. And what's kind of interesting, that just some background information about it is that it's built on a modified version of the same platform that underpins the Jeep Compass and Patriot, as well as the Dodge Journey. All three of those vehicles are still on sale today, although I don't know for how much longer. But the Outlander is doing very well for Mitsubishi, and I hope by the end of this review you're going to really understand why. So let's look at this exterior design. First off, it comes across to me as being kind of conservative, and I think that's okay, but there's still some really nice bits about it. Take a look here. For 2016, part of the refresh was a new front end design, and I actually like it. Some people are not the biggest fans of it, but I think it's attractive. I like all that chrome. It's not too flashy, but it looks slick. I also like that center or silver strip right in between the wheels there, and those 18-inch wheels. Those are actually standard on all trim levels. And speaking of trim levels, this is the Outlander GT, meaning this is literally the top of the line Outlander that you can buy today. It comes standard with all-wheel drive, although what's really nice is that with all Outlander trims, you can add all-wheel drive to it for, I believe, an extra $2,000, which is not really a bad price to ask. Also in the back, you have these LED horizontal lights, and it's it's a crossover. It's not as good looking as, say, some of the more expensive options out there, which I'll get to shortly, but it is definitely not ugly. And I think for a lot of people, this vehicle will suit their needs nicely. Also take a note, you have that nice roof rack up there, and it's just a very nice functional car. Even though it's all-wheel drive, it doesn't have an awful lot of ground clearance, so I would definitely not take it off-roading or anything like that. It's not meant for that. All-wheel drive is good in snow and other wet road conditions. So under the hood here, this is a 3-liter naturally aspirated V6 with 224 horsepower and 215 pound-feet of torque, and it's paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters, even though I don't think anyone who buys this is actually going to really use the paddle shifters. Like I said, this is not really a performance vehicle. And what's interesting is that Mitsubishi is one of the last brands to use naturally aspirated engines like this V6, but let's hear how it sounds. So the other engine that you can get, the standard one, it is a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder with 166 horsepower and 163 pound-feet of torque. It's paired to a CVT transmission, and this Outlander comes standard with front-wheel drive. As I said, all-wheel drive, optional, extra $2,000. I think that's worth it. But do you need to buy the V6 engine? It does obviously have more power. This vehicle weighs well over 3,000 pounds. Look, if you can afford the V6, the extra power is nice to have. but the 4-cylinder is still adequate enough, and I think it will be for most people. But the V6 delivers a fuel economy of 20 miles per gallon in the city, 27 miles per gallon on the highway, and a combined 23 miles per gallon. 23 miles per gallon. However, I do know someone who has the 4-cylinder model with the all-wheel drive option, and when the car is in eco mode, you just do that by pressing a button, he's getting 34 miles per gallon on the highway. So, again, he's not a fast driver, but 34 miles per gallon on the highway in a 3-row crossover is very good. So this interior. Well, look, it's pretty standard, it's basic, but I like that for this vehicle's purpose. Mitsubishi was saying that it has actually made 31 specific improvements to the interior for 2016 that eliminates a lot of road noise and things like that, just to make it a more refined vehicle overall. Some of the updates for 2016 also include a new steering wheel, contrasting stitching, and more modern looking trim panels that replaced the 2015's. It had this really bad looking fake wood, and it was best that you didn't see it. I'll leave it at that. But because this is the GT, the fully optioned one, it comes with a 6.1 inch touchscreen panel display with audio. It has a standard subscription to Sirius XM satellite radio, HD radio. You have the hands-free link system with Bluetooth. There's also a rear view camera, steering wheel mounted audio controls, cruise control, and even power side mirrors. In terms of functionality of this system, the touchscreen here, it was okay. I didn't think it was a standout by any means. It responded to inputs relatively fast, and I didn't have any serious issues with it. It is by far not the best in the business, but it is also not the worst. So how does this Outlander drive? Well, actually I found the handling to be actually pretty decent. Not at all surprisingly, the acceleration was kind of weak, even with the V6. But Mitsubishi has also stiffened parts of the structure and retuned some suspension components to firm things up a bit. And as you see here, even with that Eco Mode button that you can press right above the dual zone climate control, it does help to improve fuel economy somewhat. But even in eco mode, the car, it just sort of glides on the highway. It's not the best vehicle for passing other cars, obviously, but it suits its purpose very, very well. So let's talk safety here. And this is something that's really important for people who have families and they need a 3-row crossover. What's good here is that the Outlander achieved a 5-star crash test rating from the U.S. government. That's the highest rating a vehicle can get. It comes with other really good standard safety bits, including dual-stage driver and front passenger airbags, side curtain airbags, a knee airbag, front seat mounted side airbags, and also some nice things, including hill start assist. Obviously, you get ABS brakes, stability control, and traction control. And this vehicle even comes with a tire pressure monitoring system. Now, all these safety features are almost standard in new cars these days, but like I said, I know this is important for people with families, and I wanted to stress that here because the Outlander here, it is very much for families on a budget. They have children, and they don't need or they're able to spend a lot on a new car. So I've mentioned so much about pricing here, and, well, let's get more specific with that. The 2016 Outlander, it starts at $22,995. That is the front-wheel drive, bare-bones model with that 4-cylinder engine. This particular one, I'm sorry, the GT, actually, it starts at just under $31,000. But this one here, with several options, including handling and destination, came to a total of just over $32,000. Now, I also want to point out that the base Outlander is one of the cheapest vehicles on the market today with seating for 7. The first is actually the Dodge Grand Caravan, but that is actually going to be discontinued pretty soon, because you might have heard of the new Chrysler Pacifica, which is FCA or Fiat Chrysler's replacement minivan. It also replaces the Town and Country. But a fully spec'd Mitsubishi Outlander, even if you get, for example, the touring package, which adds navigation, forward obstacle warning, adaptive cruise control, and even lane departure warning, that only tops off at $35,000. But let's talk about the competition. More specifically, as I mentioned, the Dodge Caravan, that starts at just under $24,000. There's also the Dodge Journey, which this car it's built on a very similar version of that same platform. That starts at $21,000. But other compact crossovers, such as the Honda CR-V and the Toyota RAV4, both start at about $24,000. Neither one of those has a third row. Now, mid-size crossovers, such as the Nissan Pathfinder, Chevrolet Traverse, even the Ford Explorer, those start at an average about $30,000. And that $30,000 is just the base model right there. Even a Toyota Highlander starts at $31,000. Same goes for the Honda Pilot, as well as the Mazda CX-9. I recently did an unboxing review of as well. I love that car, but that begins at just under $32,000, and that's going to top off somewhere around $45,000, $46,000, and that's a lot of money. But as I've kept stressing here, this is a really good bargain. But the third row here, okay, there's something you do need to know about that, is that Mitsubishi doesn't really kind of call it a third row. It calls it, get this, emergency seats. The reason being is they're quite small. They're definitely not comfortable enough for adults, but they do fold flat 50-50, just like the second row, which actually that folds flat but 60-40. And they're not comfortable, the third row, for adults. They're okay enough for children, but the point is that they're there. Oh, and I like the way these second row seats fold flat too. It's really, really easy. But all of that cargo room right there, it's about 63.3 cubic feet with all those seats folded. And believe it or not, that's still a little bit less than the RAV4 and CR-V, even though none of those two have that third row, or, in Mitsubishi speak, emergency seats. And there you have them. But I was able to get most of my camera equipment packed in here very nicely. It suited my needs, and I think it would suit a lot of other people's as well, especially when money is a factor, or you just don't want to spend money or a lot of it on a new car. Now, something else that's kind of interesting regarding the Outlander, if you're willing to wait a little bit and also willing to spend a little bit more, for 2017 there is going to be the Outlander hybrid plug-in coming out, which obviously it's going to get, well, let's hope, very good fuel economy. And that hybrid plug-in, combined with those 3 rows of seats, might be a good match for a lot of people. So I hope to get my hands on that pretty soon to check it out. But just bear that in mind. But if you want my advice regarding which Outlander trim to get, which engine and transmission combination, this is just my personal opinion, but I don't think you really need the extra V6 power or even the all-wheel drive. Nice to have, but it's just, if you're not in bad weather conditions year-round, you just don't need it. So I kind of recommend the mid-range SEL trim with that 4-banger and CVT transmission. But you can even add on the $1,900 premium pack, and that adds a sunroof, a 710-watt stereo sound system, satellite radio, and that power tailgate that you saw, and as well as a few other nice items, and that grand total comes to just under $28,000. Okay, everybody, thanks so much for watching. I'm out of time. If you have any more questions for me about this vehicle, be sure to leave them for me in the comment section. I promise to answer them. If you have any more suggestions that you'd like me to do for future unboxing reviews, also leave those in the comments section below. Be sure to subscribe to the CarBuzz YouTube channel and check out the full review of the 2016 Mitsubishi Outlander GT on carbuzz.com. Until next time, thanks so much for watching.